Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brooke. Thanks so much for joining today. If you're new here, this is a channel where I talk about houseplants and do DIYs on my shorts. So if you haven't, take a minute and subscribe to my channel. But if you're a recurring viewer, thank you so much for coming back and watching another video. Today, I'm going to do a garden store walkthrough. And so I haven't done one of these in a bit. Maybe I have. I did a Green Acres video previously. And so I found a new garden shop, I'm going to call it. It's a it's not even a nursery, it's just a plant store, home store in Dallas. It's called Nicholson-Hardie. Nicholson-Hardie? Nicholson-Hardie. What did I say it was? Nicholson-Hardie. It's not Nicholson-Hardie. I think it's Nicholson-Hardie Home and Garden Shop. So I'll put the name down below because it just left my memory. But I had seen them on Instagram and a lot of people had shared that they had a secret plant store inside. Secret plant store. And so usually I'm not in the downtown Dallas area and I happened to be there. And so I decided to go and check it out. And I was really happy that I did. So I'm going to walk you through, see what I saw, and then I'm going to do a bit of a haul at the end. So stay tuned. So as you saw, there are a ton of plants here, and immediately walking in, I saw this epiprimnum and these Thai constellations and just a ton of plants. I feel like this is the first time that I walked into a plant store and have been a little overwhelmed because they had every variety you could think of. They were up high, down low. You really had to look everywhere in order to see a full scale of what they had. And it was so beautiful. They had a ton of varieties. And this Maranta silver band, this has been on a list of mine for a long time and it is beautiful. I love Marantas. They are one of my favorite genuses. It was $24.99 and a cute baby break. But they had so many plants, it was a little overwhelming. Amedriums, I think is what they're called, but I've seen these online. And then these Florida greens were $24.99, and just pothos, philodendron, seriously, any plant, you name it, it's here. At first I thought they had plants categorized together, and some of them were, like this was the Calathea selection, and then they had the larger monsteras in the back, and then they had a cacti section, which is my oldest's favorite, and they had of course the iconic cacti, and they were $99, but a ton of little Hoyas and other small cactuses and succulents. I really didn't pay attention to that much. And then they had this really large Thai constellation, but they also had an incredibly large selection of orchids, which were so beautiful, really unique. Again, I don't know much about orchids, but they had some really interesting blooms, like this one down here. I didn't catch its name, but very interesting bloom. I thought it was a pitcher plant. They had some really large tillandsia, and then a ton of syngoniums, and again, pothos, philodendron, so the micans, the pearls and jades. This one was the Painted Lady, and it was $19.99. Next to it's the Birkin. I honestly didn't check a lot of these prices because there were just so many of them, but I did find this Alocasia Frydek, which was pretty awesome, and it was only $12.99. I mean, it's crazy how prices have changed, like obviously in things, but the plant prices have come down. This guy, I remember it being a high costing plant. So they had those, and then they had these satin jade, not pothos, scindapsus. And then there was this massive giganteum variegated, and it was $800. Then they had these racks of, I would say, the uncommon or rare plants. Some of them were still the same, like the Painted Ladies. They had Staghorn Ferns, the Pink Princess, of course. And then they had the Ploughmanis, which were looking a little worse for wear, I won't lie. They were $19.99. And then they had a lot of little Thai constellations for $74.99 and ranging up. Some of them were $100. And then these really interesting, like, compacted plants. I'm not sure what they were, but just a ton of little plants. Then I saw this Philodendron Splendid, and it was $34.99, and I honestly thought about getting it, spoiler, but it just kind of looked worse for wear, I would say. Then they had this Philodendron Chocolate, I believe is what it's called. I thought it was an anthurium, but $34.99, I'm gonna need to look that up. some Ficus scribionas, and then these Anthurium fingers, and the Gloriosum. Just a ton of little, I would say smaller, rare plants available that I forgot to even look up, and saw this huge Monstera esqueleto for $99. So just a ton of plants. You really do have to look everywhere in order to get the full picture of what they have. Okay, so as you saw, so many amazing plants, really good pricing on it. It really reminded me of Wright's Floral in Tacoma, Washington. If you're from there or that area and watching, you can go in there now. It used to be a wholesale only place. They did open it up to public, so you can go in there now, and it's the same vibe. Like, they have all the pots and pottery and just decor items, and then they have a garden section as well. And I've gotten a few uncommon plants from them, I would say. And so this shop had them as well. A lot of uncommon plants. I would have totally gotten, I guess, spoiler, the Philodendron Splendid. I was really thinking about it, but they looked so not good. Sorry, but they just were very not pretty looking. And so I knew I would have to chop them all back and restart them. And I'm just not up for that right now. But that one, and then the Philodendron Chocolate, I need to look that up still because I haven't. But there was like a really cool Philodendron Chocolate plant that looked like a Jungle Boogie or Ring of Fire, something like that, but with larger leaves. I thought it was an Anthurium at first. I thought it was like a fern, whatever Anthurium, but it wasn't. So it was very interesting. I'm gonna have to Google that one. But one plant that I did get has been on a list of mine for some time. And again, I know I say like I don't have lists, but this plant is one that I saw on the internet years ago, and it's not a common plant at all for my area, at least. And so it was the Maranta Silver Band. This plant is so pretty. And so again, I had seen these online years ago in small little pots, and they're very silvery if you give them the right light and conditions. But I really love Maranta and Calathea. I had a lot of Calathea before, and I still have a few Maranta left. I have a lemon lime. I have just the normal like green Kirchnova or whatever you want to call it. I don't know how to pronounce it. And then I have a variegated version as well. But this guy definitely was a pick for me. I saw it and immediately knew I was going to buy it. And to kick it off, it's blooming right now. And so I loved my Marantas because they have the tiniest blooms. And I had a red Maranta and I left it in Washington because I knew it wouldn't make the drive. They're very sensitive plants. I actually only tried to bring one Maranta with me, and it ended up dying. And it was a large basket, bigger than this, of just the normal like green. It wasn't a lemon lime. It was the Kirchnova or whatever Maranta. And so it didn't survive. It did not make it, but I was really bummed. So I have a few again that I've purchased from the stores and gotten here, but this one is so pretty and it's so big, and I'm really excited about it. And so you can start to see on some of these larger leaves, like the silvery, and the lighting's not great right now, but it's very silvery, so pretty. And again, I love Maranta. They're such interesting plants. They move and they flower. And so it's kind of just a fun plant. And they are notoriously difficult to take care of, but I figured it out. Just use filtered water. Now I let my Albo, it's a variegated Maranta, dry all the way out before I water again, and it doesn't seem to mind. And so I'll probably do the same for this guy. I'll probably just let the soil dry out. But if you are starting to notice that your plant is, or your Maranta specifically, or even Calathea, because they are in the same family, they're in the Maranthaceae family. And so those all require filtered water, and they don't like to dry out. And so if you are struggling with this, try filtered water. I know, but it's fine. We have a filtered water thing on our fridge, so I just use that. But don't let it dry out. Try and just let it dry about an inch from the bottom and then water it. And so I forgot to say, this one was $24.99. And so yeah, probably, I don't know, it's maybe not an inexpensive plant, but maybe for some people because it's a Maranta. But it's so beautiful. And again, it's very uncommon. Like, I've seen these online, but a lot of people I don't think sell them either because they are difficult to ship. And so I was really excited to see one in a store that I knew would make it and it wouldn't have a period in shipping where it would freak out and die. So really beautiful, large leaves. I love it. I'm so excited. Now I just need to find a place for it because I have a lot of, space filling up here. And I didn't when I moved here. I got rid of all of my plants and now I'm gaining them back. And so I'm going to have to find a place for them. I keep my Marantas in lower light. So I kept mine in a west facing window, but it was behind, it was underneath a cabinet area. And so the west window was like here, but the cabinet was down here. So it was pretty low light. And so my Marantas here are in low light as well. I have one that sits on our island and it is very far back from a window. That's actually where my variegated one sits. And then I have a lemon lime one and just a normal green one that sits in a southwest facing window, but way back and on the side of my on the side of our fridge. So I will probably end up putting this one on this chair right here for right now because this is southwest facing window. Light, hello. This is a southwest facing window, but the chair kind of gets, filtered light, a lot of filtered light. And so I think that's where I'll keep him for now, but that was my haul. I picked this one specifically because it had just started blooming. Actually, this opened the day after I caught it. And so pretty. And it has a little new bloom down here too. And if you see these, like the Hoya, you see these runners on Hoyas and people often chop them off. Don't chop them off. It is a flower and it will eventually bloom. Make sure to like this video, share it with a friend, and we will see you next time.